What if I told you the biggest story of the season didn't happen on the field, but behind closed doors while every fan was asleep? What if the move that could completely change the Dodgers' future wasn't announced in a press conference, but leaked through insiders at midnight? And what if the star player you thought was untouchable was suddenly gone before sunrise? Would you still trust the front office, or would you feel betrayed? What really pushed the Dodgers to make this shocking late-night decision? And most importantly, did they just make the greatest move of the year, or a disaster? Some fans are calling this the smartest move the Dodgers have made in years, while others are saying it's the biggest betrayal the franchise has ever committed. To some, this midnight trade is a bold step toward a championship. To others, it's a reckless decision made in panic. One side sees strategy, analytics, and long-term vision. The other sees emotion, loyalty, and a star player who should never have been touched. Two completely different perspectives, one unbelievable moment, and a decision that will define the Dodgers for years. The question is, which side is right, and which side will regret it? Something happened last night that the Dodgers never intended for fans to find out so quickly. A secret phone call, a last-second offer, a hidden piece of information, and suddenly everything changed. By the time most people were scrolling through late-night highlights, the front office had already made a decision that would shake the entire fanbase awake. A star gone. A new chapter forced open. And a reason behind the move that still hasn't been fully revealed. Stay right here, because the truth behind this midnight trade is far more shocking than anyone realizes, and the real story is only beginning. Before we jump into this breaking story, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on all notifications so you never miss any Dodgers news the moment it drops. Because what we're talking about today has absolutely shaken the baseball world to its core. This isn't a rumor, this isn't speculation, this isn't some tiny roster adjustment that only hardcore fans care about. This is a full-blown shockwave that hit the MLB overnight, a midnight deal that nobody saw coming, and it involves one of the biggest stars the Los Angeles Dodgers have had in years. Fans woke up stunned, confused, angry, excited, and honestly, just trying to figure out why on earth the Dodgers pulled off a blockbuster trade while the rest of the world was asleep. It all started just after midnight when reports began flooding social media that the Dodgers were finalizing a deal centered around one of their star players, someone fans genuinely believed was part of the long-term plan. This was the kind of player who carried the team through slumps, delivered highlight moments, and had that connection with the fanbase that you just can't manufacture. So when insiders started whispering that the front office had quietly made aggressive calls to multiple teams earlier in the day, people didn't take it seriously. They thought it was just another rumor floating around trade season. But no minutes later, those whispers turned into confirmations. The Dodgers front office had struck a deal, signed the papers, and approved the trade while most fans were still scrolling through late-night clips and box scores. And here's where the chaos started. The identity of the traded player hit the internet, and Dodgers fans instantly exploded with reactions: heartbreak, disbelief, and pure shock. People said they felt like they had been punched in the chest. Others refused to believe it at first, refreshing the notifications hoping it was a mistake or a false report. Big players don't get traded at midnight. Stars don't get moved when the entire fanbase is sleeping. But this time, that's exactly what happened. What makes this entire situation even wilder is the timing. The Dodgers have been under pressure for weeks, injuries piling up, pitching depth getting tested, hitters going cold at the worst moments, and a front office that clearly refused to let the season slip away. For the last month, insiders hinted that the Dodgers were preparing to do something bold. But nobody expected this. Nobody expected the team to move a major piece of the roster when the season narrative was already shifting. Fans were hoping for reinforcements, not watching their star pack his bags for another city. And yet, the front office insisted this was the right move, the kind of deal that could change their entire postseason picture. The craziest part is that earlier yesterday, the player appeared totally normal. He did pre-game workouts, talked to teammates, signed autographs, joked around with fans. Nobody sensed that anything was wrong or that a life-changing decision had already been discussed behind closed doors. Even the broadcasters said everything looked routine. But behind the scenes, phone calls were made, negotiations were intense, and the Dodgers were weighing their future against their present. Sometimes major front office decisions happen slowly, over weeks or months, but sometimes they happen in a lightning-fast storm of pressure and opportunity, and that seems to be exactly what went down here. Sources say the Dodgers received an offer so unexpected and massive that they felt forced to consider it. This wasn't a salary dump. This wasn't a panic move. This wasn't some desperation attempt to shake things up. According to people close to the negotiations, the Dodgers were presented with a package that addressed multiple holes in their roster at the same time, something they previously believed they couldn't get without giving up multiple prospects. Instead, another team came in swinging hard, offering MLB-ready talent, strong pitching depth, and possibly more draft capital than the Dodgers expected. It was the kind of offer front offices dream about but rarely actually receive. So when the Dodgers realized they could strengthen their rotation, boost their bullpen, and add future flexibility, they felt they had to at least consider moving a player who had been a cornerstone of the lineup. But fans aren't buying it. They don't want logic. They don't want front office analytics. They don't want long-term financial explanations. They want wins, loyalty, and star power. And losing a key player overnight feels like betrayal to many. Social media exploded with reactions from disbelief to heartbreak to outright chaos. Some fans posted tribute edits. Others posted angry rants. Some said this move would ruin team chemistry. Others argued that this was a necessary sacrifice to build a championship-level roster again. The entire Dodgers fanbase split in two, and the debate is still raging. Inside the clubhouse, things reportedly got emotional. Teammates were shocked. Some didn't know what to say. Players develop bonds, routines, and trust, and losing someone who has been part of that daily structure hits differently. There are reports that several players stayed late, talking about the move, trying to understand what direction the front office is taking. For young players, this kind of trade sends a loud message: nobody is safe. For veterans, it's a reminder that baseball is a business first, no matter how connected you feel to the fans or the city. As morning arrived, reporters began filling in more details. Apparently, the Dodgers have been monitoring this trade scenario for weeks, but they didn't think the other team would actually include the final piece needed to complete the deal. But when that unexpected piece was added late last night, everything changed instantly. Within minutes, phone calls were made, paperwork was finalized, and the Dodgers submitted the deal before sunrise. Now everyone is asking the same question: did the Dodgers make the right move? Only time will tell. If the players they received come through strong, if the rotation becomes more stable, if the bullpen stops collapsing late in games, if the lineup gains balance, then this trade might age like gold. But if the team struggles, or if the star player they traded starts dominating with his new club, fans will never forget it. They will point to this night as the turning point, for better or for worse. The front office has already released a statement praising the player who was traded, thanking him for everything he brought to the organization, calling him a leader, a competitor, and someone who left a real impact. The player himself released a late-night message that was classy, emotional, and full of gratitude. He thanked the fans, the city, the teammates, and even the coaching staff. But the emotion in his words was obvious. He didn't want to leave. He was invested. He believed he was part of the Dodgers' future. And waking up in a new city overnight was not something he ever expected. But baseball doesn't wait. Seasons don't pause. The Dodgers now move into a new chapter, one that comes with pressure, expectations, and the spotlight of millions of fans watching every pitch, every decision, every new lineup the team puts out. All eyes will be on the players who came in this trade. All eyes will be on how the Dodgers respond to backlash. All eyes will be on whether this move actually pushes the team forward or becomes one of the biggest regrets in franchise history. If you want more updates on what the Dodgers might do next, how the new players fit into the roster, and what this means for the rest of the season, make sure you're subscribed because this story is just getting started. Hit that like button, turn on all notifications, and let me know in the comments whether you think this midnight trade was a genius move or a massive mistake. Your reactions are going to be wild, and I can't wait to read them.